Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhuta Guhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarvavide Namaha. Brahmadya Stavarantaye Pranino Mama Pusmritaha Kama Krodha Dayo Doshaha Jayeranme Kutonyataha. Brahmadyaha Stavarantaha Ye Praninaha. Those pranis, the beings, being from Brahma, all the way up to Stavara, immobile like a tree, etc. Ma puhu smritaha. Puhu puram sharira bhutaha smritaha. Smritaha nirnitaha. That they are all my bodies, meaning not separate from me. I am separate from them, but they are not separate from me. And therefore, Kama Krodhadayo Doshaha. Therefore, there are no multiplicity of Atma. I am one Atma and all of these are my body. So they are called body. They are the dwelling places where in a puri or in a city the king dwells, and so also like king I dwell in all this body, all these beings which are my bodies. So in spite of the manyness of the Puraha Shariram, the self I is one, not that Brahma and others have different Atmas. And Kama Krodhadayo Dosha, these defects, blemishes, such as Kama Krodha, Kuto me jayaran, how can they arise for me? They cannot belong to me because they are always varying, they are coming and going, vyabhichari, changeable, and therefore anitya, therefore mithya. And secondly, that they are not in you. They can be elsewhere and you can be affected by them. Kuto anyataha, where is anya? When there is nothing other than me, then how can I be affected by these blemishes which you think they are elsewhere? There is no elsewhere. They are not in me because I am there and they are not there. Even when Kama Krodha is there, I am there. When I am there as in deep sleep, etc., they are not there. Therefore, They do not belong to me. And there is nothing else where they belong. Bhutadoshe sada sprishtam sarvabhutastamishwaram Neelam vyoma yatha balah dustam mam vikshate janah. So thus by upapatya reasoning, you establish that there cannot be kama krodha, there cannot be samsara in me, cannot be. Doesn't make sense. Whether it makes sense or not, the fact remains that I experience them. Samsara, kama krodha, experience. I find myself kami, krodhi, that's what I find myself to be. So that is the direct experience. How can you deny that? So then the question is whether it is experience or whether it is Brahma. Neelam vyoma yatha bala. Just as a child, immature person, who doesn't have viveka, who does not know the reality of space, has not learned the blueness of space is only optical illusion, there is no such blue thing. That person may take sky to be blue. But just because someone takes sky to be blue does not make sky blue. It's not an experience. But I see the sky as blue. It's my experience. Is it your experience? Is it Brahma or your delusion? I see myself kami, krodhi, samsari. It's not an experience. It is Brahma or delusion about the self. And so, just optical illusion, that's all it is. Dosha dushte brahmatvad. Taking myself to be dushta, dushita, affected by blemishes. Brahmatvad, that is Brahma, and not a reality about me. Meaning that you cannot claim that Atma is samsari because you experience, you don't experience. What you think is experience, in fact, Brahma or delusion. How do you say that all these sthavarantaha, brahmadyaha, sthavarantaha, praninaha, mamapuhu, you made a statement, all right? And smutaha, nirnitaha. All the beings beginning from Brahma up to a tree, clump of tree, all of these are my puhu, shariram, puraha, body, puram. How is it so? That's a statement. And you can interpret the Shruti statement in that manner or a Smriti statement. But you should also provide reasoning. In what way all of these are your body? Macchaitanyavabhasyata. Next one. Macchaitanyavabhasyatvad. Sarva pranidhiyam sada. Purmama pranina sarve sarvajnasya vipapmanaha. So they are mama puraha, puhu, puram, shariram. What? Avabhasyatvat. All these bodies are illumined by me. Mat Chaitanya avhasyatvat. I who is Chaitanya, I who is consciousness, by me, all of these are illumined avhasya. They are illumined by me. Sara pranina pranidhyam sada mat Chaitanya avhasyatvat. The dhi, the buddhi, the upadhi. Of all the pranis, they are all illumined by I or myself, who is Chaitanya or consciousness. And therefore, they are my body, they are not me. I am the illuminator, they are illumined. So what is illumined? This body also is illumined by me. And similarly also, all the bodies, all the dhi or upadhi are all illumined by me. If this body can be called my body, then similarly, the consciousness being one, this was already established earlier. Therefore, I, the consciousness that illumines this body, is the consciousness that illumines all the bodies. Sarve pranah mama puhu, mama sarvajnasya vipatmanah puhu. All the pranis are puhu, puram, shariram. Mama sarvajnasya vipatmanah. Who is vipatman? Who is vipatma? Meaning that who is devoid of all papa or sin or impurities, karma. Sarvajnasya, all knowing, meaning of the nature of knowledge. Sarvajna literally means one who knows everything. It means one who is of the nature of knowledge, who illumines all knowledge. I, who is Sarvajna, the consciousness, who is ever pure, ever sinless, who illumines everything, good, bad or indifferent. By virtue of my being illumined, they are all my bodies. Yasya sarvani bhutani shariram, yas sarvani bhutani antarha yameti, eshate atma antaryami amrutaheti. But that Shruti very clearly says, Yasya sarvani bhutani shariram, for whom all the beings are the body. Yes, bhutani antarayamayati, one who rules all the beings remaining within them, the inner ruler. Eshadya, that is your Atma. So Atma also is ruler, of whom all the body, all these beings are bodies. And you are Eshadya Atma Antaryami Amrutaha. That Atma of yours is inner ruler, Amrita immortal, meaning ever pure. All right, then continuing Tarhi, Bhasya Prani Tad Buddhinam Sattvat. You describe yourself as avabhasaka, as illuminator. And all of them are described as avabhasya, illumined. You seem to be accepting the duality of the illuminator and illumined. All these beings are called your body by virtue of your being illuminated and they being illumined. Then illuminator, illumined duality accepted here. Tari bhasya, bhasya means that which is illumined. Prani tat buddhina. Prani, all the living beings and their buddhi. Bhasya, they are all illumined by you. Sattvat, so they are there. You are there of the nature of consciousness. And all other entities are there which are illumined by you. So by calling yourself illuminator, you are in a way accepting the existence of those things that are illumined. Therefore, bhasya prani tat buddhinam sattvat. The prani, the living beings, and their buddhi or upadhi, they are all bhasya, illumined. They are there. Otherwise you cannot call them illumined and you are also illuminator. Advaita kshatihi. That looks like this is a defect in non-duality because you seem to be accepting the duality of illuminator and illumined. Unless what is illumined is separate from illuminator, how can you call yourself illuminator and them illumined? In reply to that, the verse 7 is stated here. Janimad jnana vigneyam swapna jnana vadishyate nityam nirvishayam jnanam tasmadvaitanna vidyate. All right. So let us then examine the reality of what is called avabhasya or illumination. I am the illuminator, they are illumined. Let us analyze the reality of what is illumined. So what is illumined is what? Janimat jnana vijnayam. Tika says yat janimatcha jnana vijnayam cha. It's a karmatayara samana. It is janimat as well as jnana vijnayam. Vijnayam known, jnana vijnayam known by knowledge. Meaning illumined by consciousness. So that which janimat, she says, karyam jadam cha. Janimat means karyam. That which is subject to janma or birth. Janimat, possessing jani or possessing birth is called janimat. And therefore it is karyam, it is created product because product is always created. And then jnana vijnayam, that which is known by jnanam, known by knowledge, which is the object of knowledge. Vijnaya, that which is known, jnana vijnaya, which is object of knowledge. It is jadam. Knowledge is consciousness, and whatever is object of knowledge is always jadam. It is unconscious. So what is the category of what is illumined? Janimat jnana vijnayam. It is karyam, product, having birth and therefore is perishable. And it is, it is achetanam. It is jadam, achetanam. Meaning that paraprakashyam, not self-effulgent. So what about that? Then mithya ishyate, this is the definition of mithya, which appears to be there but not really there is called mithya. So only objects of knowledge appear to be there. So therefore the whole universe is there, all bodies are there, all upadhis are there, which are all objects of knowledge, objects of illumination. That's what he said. What is the reality of what is illumined? Janimat and jnana vijnayam. What is illumined is subject to birth as well as it is unconscious. Because you see the fact that jnana vijnayam is known by knowledge, meaning the illumined by knowledge, which means that which needs to be illuminated by knowledge. Otherwise, you do not require something else to illuminate that. All the entities that are in this hall, all of them require to be illuminated by light. But you don't need to illuminate light itself. Similarly, all these objects of knowledge illuminated by consciousness. And therefore, they are not self-revealing. What is not swaprakasham is not swasattakam, not self-existing also. The rule is that that which exists on its own also reveals itself. So unless something reveals itself, how do you know it is? So something is when it is revealed. So isness and neyatvam, being known, also go together. All the objects are known, meaning that they cannot make themselves known on their own. They have to be illumined. That means that they are not self-existing, they also borrow their existence from something else. That's the definition of mithya, which does not enjoy independent existence. Like a pot is called mithya because it does not enjoy an existence independent of clay. Then mithya ishare. So what we call the sarva prani dhyam, all the bodies, upadhis, which are illumined by consciousness, they all fall in the category of mithya. Mithya means which is not real, which appears to be real, but which is not there at all. What's the example? Swapnavat ishyate yatha swapna jnanam. In dream also, a similar experience is there, where all the objects are illumined. But dream is well known to be mithya, because when you wake up, the dream is completely negated. Therefore, the sat bhasmanam tan mithya swapna gajarivat. The objects such as elephant, etc., in a dream, you know them to be mithya when you wake up. So if dream is mithya, then the whole setup in dream is mithya. In dream, then there is illumined, objects are illumined. That's the character of all objects in dream. So whatever is illumined is mithya. Tad jagada vikaryam drishyam chaiti mithyayati. Thus, in the waking state also, whatever it is that you experience is karyam, is created, is illumined, and therefore mithya, like the dream objects. So explain the first line. Yad janimat jnaya vijnayam swapnavat avasya swapna jnanam adishyate. That's explained. Then second line, nityam nirvishayam jnanam. The jnanam is of different category. Nityam and nirvishayam jnanam. Jnayam is janimat, subject to birth, perishable, anityam. It is jnana vishaya. The illuminator is of a different category altogether. There is mithya, this is nityam, satyam. Nityam nirvishayam jnanam. The chaitanyam jnanam, the self, is nityam nirvishayam. Tasmad dvaitam na vidya. Therefore, all there is chaitanyam. All there is illuminator. What is called illumined is not there at all. Therefore, really speaking, the illuminator also is not there. The illuminator, the bhasaka, is only with reference to illumined. Because the objects are bhasya or illumined, therefore, Chaitanya is called bhasakam. Nismat tasmat gneyasya asatvad. Right now, there seems to be a duality of the jnata, gneya, jnanam. The duality is there. But in dream also, the duality is there. And we know that dream is mithya, therefore the duality also is mithya. So wherever else that duality is found, that also is mithya. So waking also, where the duality of known knowledge is mithya. Utsuka. So there is no such entity as gneyam. There is no such object of knowledge because it is mithya, just an appearance, not reality. Tasmat gneyasya. There is tasmat in the second line. Tasmat dvaitam na vidyate. Therefore, dvaita does not exist. Why tasmat? Tad dvaitam na vidyate yasmat. Because like in dream also, the waking objects are also not there. Therefore, gneyasya sattva, there is no such thing called gneyam, object of knowledge. So what is the nature of jnanam? There is no sufficient jnana. Consciousness has nothing to illumine. What you think is jnana, vishaya or object only is not there. Like the dream objects are not there. And therefore the jnanam, the consciousness that illumines all the objects. There are no objects to illumine. There is no vishaya, therefore jnanam nirvishayam. The jnanam, the consciousness, the illuminator, has nothing to illumine. All that is just shines on its own, nothing, doesn't illumine anything. What is thought to be illumined belongs to mithya category. Just an appearance. Therefore, In reality, there is no jnana vishaya, the object of knowledge. In the word jnata, jnaya, jnanam, that duality is not there. All there is jnanam, consciousness without the vishaya, without anything to illumine. Therefore, nirvishayam jnanam. And therefore, how do you describe that knowledge or consciousness? Not with reference to Vishaya, because it is not there. Vishaya nirupyam na bhavati. So that jnanam consciousness cannot be described with reference to Vishaya as illuminator, because there is no entity that is illumined. Therefore, usually the jnanam is described or explained with reference to jnayam. When jnayam is not there, the jnanam is not described with reference to jnayam. It is nirvishayam. So, nityam nirvishayam jnanam. The first explanation, the word nityam was explained as sada, always nirvishayam. Waking, dream, anytime, jnana is always nirvishayam. Or yadva, that word nityam can also be explained differently. Nityam avinashi, eternal. Nityam also can be eternal. Therefore, jnanam nityam avinashi. Why? Sra vinasha sakshitvaditi. How do you call jnanam avinashi? Because it illumines all vinasha. Vinasha is something that is known, illumined. And the illuminate is always different from what is illumined. Therefore, jnanam that supposedly illumines is a vinasha, because sarva vinasha sakshitvat. Sakshi, or the witness of all the vinasha. If itself is vinashi, then it cannot illumine all vinasha. Illuminate also is vinashi. Then when it is not there, then what is there cannot be illumined. Illumines all the vinasha. That means it is there even when all vinasha takes place, because it doesn't undergo vinasha. Ni adhyaropitena dvaitena paramartham advaitam vihanyate. The question is, when you say that Atma is avbhasaka, illuminator, and all anatma, all the body avbhasya, all the buddhi, all the upadhis, accepting the duality of the avbhasaka, avbhasya, says no. Adhyaropitena dvaitena. What is illumined? He is mithya. Adhyaropita. Projected. And therefore, that what is projected cannot be counted in the same category as adhisthana. In the rope snake example, the snake cannot be counted as different from rope, because rope and snake do not belong to the same reality. With apple and apple should be added, not apple and something else. Ni adhyaropetena dvaitena paramartham advaitam vihanyate. What is thought to be dvaita is adhyaropitam, projected, not really there. So dvaitam such as there, which is not there, cannot in any way affect the advaitam. Advaitam can be affected, can be questioned, can be destroyed if there is real dvaitam. But the imaginary dvaitam cannot in any way affect the advaitam or non-duality. Tasmat dvaitam vidyate. That's what the shloka said. Here is another example. We gave rope snake example. He says, na khalu arupirena toyadina tat adhara bhumyadi sadvitiyam dushtamiri bhava. Example is of mirage water. Arupirena toyadina. You superimpose water, mirage water, upon bhumi, upon the earth, upon the desert. Then there cannot be two entities. Bhumi is one and toyam is another one. You cannot count two. Toy means water, mirage water, because it is not really there. Therefore, that imaginary water does not in any way affect the non-duality of desert of the earth. The imaginary Adhyarupa should not affect the real non-duality of Adhisthana. Survajnanasya nirvishayatvam nityatvam chuktam. Earlier said nityam nirvishayam jnanam. So nityam was explained ultimately is eternal. Jnanam, the consciousness, is nityam, eternal, avinashi, indestructible, as well as nirvishayam, without vishaya. Just illumines, just shines, with nothing to illumine. Must be very lonely, isn't it? Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyato bhanti, kutoya magni. Nothing illumines that because it is not illumined. It also does not illumine anything. It's called non-dual. Shrutya upadayati. So the reasoning was given that is mithya. But Shruti also says that from this statement of Shruti also becomes very clear that jnanam or consciousness is nityam, nirvishayam, is avinashi, indestructible, eternal, as well as objectless. Objectless awareness, that is an expression. Objectless awareness. Awareness or consciousness is jnanam, without object. And so the 8th verse is Jnatur jnatirhi nityokta sushupte tvanya shunyatah Jagrajñātisva vignātah tadgrāhyam chāsadishyadām. So this way, like other Prakarana Granthas also, this one connects the whole Shruti, various statements obtained in different places. They are all connected. How all of them the same tatparya. That is how understanding a text like this, we understand the tatparya, the purport of the Shruti, all the Upanishads also. You should know the Upanishad to know this, and you should know to, so this is always, you study everything and then back and forth. Then only we can understand any given thing. Jnatuhu jnatihi. So jnatihi, jnaptihi, consciousness. Jnatuhu, 6 keys of jnatur, of the knower. Jnatihi, knowing. The knowing of the knower. Nitya ukta is ukta shrutya. Shruti says that the knowing of the knower is nitya, is eternal. With example, sushuptetu anyashunyatah. In sushupti, when nothing is there, then also the jnati, the knowing is very much there. Thus, with the example of sushupti, the Shruti describes the jnati, the knowing of the knower, as avinashi, as so avinashitvat, illustrated there. So this was with reference to Sushupti. How about the others? But then in the waking state, the knower is there, the knowing is there, the known is there. So how to explain that? Jagadjnatistu avidya. In waking, there seems to be the knowing and the knower and the known. Avidya is nothing but ignorance, nothing but projection. So avidya ataha, if that is how it is, ataha tadgrahyam cha asadishyatam. Because in the waking also, all the duality is avidya or mithya. Therefore, tadgrahyam, whatever is the object of knowledge also is a sat or mithya. When the whole setup is mithya, then the object which is part of the setup also is mithya. So how the Shruti shows the nityatvam, avinashitvam of the consciousness. Says Tika, sushuptetu anyasya gneyasya asatva pradarshana purvakam. So anya shunyatah. Anyasya shunyatah. Shunyatvat. Anyasya of other. Which other? Gneyasya. One is the knower. Usually, in our experience, there is the triputi, the triad. The knower, the known, and the knowledge. So that is our experience, that's our conclusion. Then with reference to the deep sleep, Upanishad shows the absence of anya, the known. And therefore also knower. So knower, known are not there. The third one, knowing, is there. Therefore, Shruti points out the deep sleep state, where we know that the knower is not there, the known is not there, but the knowing is there. Because when I wake up, I don't say that I did not exist. I did not know anything. So I declare the absence of the object of knowledge. I do not declare absence of the knower. So knower and I did not, so there was nothing known. There was no object of knowledge. Sushuptetu anyasya gneyasya asatva pradarshana purvakam. Shunyataha or asatva. In Sushupti, the Shruti shows the absence of the other one. Other means what? The Gneyam. Jnata, Gneya and Jnanam. So, Gneya or the known is taken to be different from Jnata, the knower. Knower, known, knowing. There is no other one in the Sushupti. Meaning there is no Gneya, there is no known. Then Gnata also is not there. The knower also is not there, known also is not there. When you say knower is not there, does it mean that this total non-existence of the knower says no, Gnatuhu, Atmana, Gnatihi. The knower is not there, but the knowing is there. The knower is the role that knowing takes. When Kartrutva is there, Jnatrutva is there, then that knowing consciousness seems to assume the role of knower. Now, that role requires upadhi. In absence of upadhi or costume, the role is not there. That does not mean the player of the role is not there. The actor is called a beggar or called a king with reference to costume. When the costume is not there, the beggar is not there. The king is not there. That does not mean the actor is not there. The deep sleep state also, the knower is not there. That does not mean the content of knower is not there. Knower is something that is what? It is superficial. It is temporary, incidental. King is incidental. Beggar is incidental. Incidental may be there or not there. But essential has to be there. In the knower also, there is something incidental and something essential. The knower is a role, incidental. The knowing, the consciousness is Swarupa, is essential. Essential is not negated. So Jnatuhu, Atma Jnatihi, call it Jnatihi or Jnaptihi. Whatever pratyaya you apply. So Swarubhuta Jnaptihi. Jnaptihi, the knowing, the consciousness which is Swarubhuta, very essential nature of the knower. Nitya iti Shrutya uchyate. So Shruti says that in the knower also, something is anityam, at the same time something is nityam. The beggar is anitya, the actor is nitya. Therefore, the jnata is anitya, the jnatihi or jnaptihi or knowing is nitya. Where do you say that? Tathacha Shrutihi. Yadvai tanna pashyati. I did not know anything. So when I wake up, I say, I did not know anything. So when you say you did not know anything, what does it mean? You were not there? The knower was not there? Or there was nothing to know? Mama, I don't see anything because it is dark. So there is nothing to see or the seer is not there. It is like a child saying, I do not see anything in the dark. But seeing is there. The object of seeing is not there. Yad vaitanna pashyati. Pashyan vaitanna pashyati means I don't see anything. He is seeing and saying I don't see anything. When he say I don't see anything, Pashyan, seeing, means he should say I see the absence of everything. Pashyan vaitanna pashyati. In deep sleep also he says I don't know anything. Knowing he says I don't know anything. Why? Nahin drashtuhu drushte viparilopo vidyate. Why? Because the knowing of the knower can never suffer cessation. The knower comes and goes, the knowing never suffers a cessation. Why? Avinashitvat. In knower also there are two elements, a vinashi element and avinashi element. Just as the beggar is vinashi, the actor is avinashi. Then how come he does not see? When he is there and seeing is there. Pashyan vaitanna pashyati. Pashyan means while seeing he does not see. While he is seeing, how come he does not see? Nadu tad dvitiyam asti tato vibhaktam anyat tat pashyed. There is nothing separate from him to see. That is why he does not see. He does not see not because the seeing is not there. He does not see because the object of seeing is not there. So seeing something else requires something else as well as seeing. So when you are denying the seeing of something else, the something else is denied, not the seeing is denied. Nahin drashtuhu drushte viparilopo vidyate. Cannot viparilopa, the cessation of the drishti, the seeing of the seer, avinashitvat, because it is imperishable. Ityadika Shruti very clearly says. So Shrutya Pradipadati. Shrutya Pradipadanam, Shruti says that there is Jnati is there, Jnapti is there, but Vishaya is not there. So Nirvishaya Jnapti. Nirvishayam Jnanam is what the Shruti says with the example of deep sleep state. Then the question can still arise. Yadyapi sushupte nirvishayam jnanam vishaya abhavat. The knowing in the sushupti is nirvishayam, objectless. The awareness in the deep sleep state is objectless awareness. All right. Vishaya bhavat, because there is absence of Vishaya. So question is, Shruti says that in deep sleep state the awareness is objectless awareness. Because there is no object. The objectless of awareness, is it because it is nature of the awareness to be objectless? Or is it because absence of the object? Now Shruti says that in deep sleep state the awareness is objectless, all right. But the objectless of awareness, is it because there is absence of object, therefore there is object awareness? or because his nature awareness to be objectless. So Shruti says there is no object in the deep sleep. That does not establish that awareness is objectless. The absence of object is stated. Objectlessness in deep sleep is stated. Either objectlessness, the nature of consciousness, awareness, or it is objectless awareness because of absence of object. So, yadyapi sushupte nirvishayam jnanam vishayabhavat. If you interpret the Shruti statement, then vishayabhavat. Because of the absence of vishaya or the object, it is said objectless awareness. Swarupatah nashiyatva abhavachya nityam shruti prasiddham shruti siddham. So Shruti says that also that consciousness is imperishable. Swarupatah nashilatva abhavat. In Swarupa, the essential nature, there is no nashashilatvam, there is no perishability, and therefore it is imperishable. Okay? This is Sushupti. This was with reference to Sushupti. Tathapi avasthantare savisham upalabhyadeti. Avasthantare in the waking and dream states and other states, in states other than deep sleep, savisham upalabhyate, that jnanam, with consciousness or awareness, is experienced as possessed of Vishaya in the waking state also. The knowledge is accompanied with the object. Dream also, the knowledge, awareness is accompanied with the object. So how do you say that the awareness is objectless? Because in waking and dream, the awareness is experienced, object also is experienced. Iti jnatuhu jnatihi anitya syat. That means that jnatihi, the consciousness, awareness is objectful and objectless. So jnati, the awareness also changes. In waking and dream state, it is possessed of object. Deep sleep state without the object, therefore jnatuhu jnatihi anitya syat. Therefore the jnatihi, the awareness also is anitya, because you have one kind in waking dream, another kind in deep sleep state. So second line says Jagrat Jnati. So now let us examine the Jagrat Jnati. Let us examine the awareness in the waking state. Avidya or avidyataha, whatever. The duality that we see or experience in the waking state, the knower knowing is avidyataha, is because of ignorance, or avidya is ignorance. Yatah Shrusiddham Nityam Nirvishayam Jnanam. Since Shruti is very clearly avinashitvat, Shruti-siddham Nityam Nirvishayam, so Pashyan vai tanna pashyati. Seeing it does not see, meaning that Nirvishayam Jnanam. Avinashitvat, imperishable, so two things are stated. Shruti-siddham Nityam Nirvishayam Jnanam. Shruti in her own words has described the jnanam, the awareness, as nityam, as imperishable, as well as nirvisham, as objectless. Atah karanat. So taking that as the basis, we will examine the waking based on what the Shruti says in deep sleep state. Not that we will arrive at conclusion of deep sleep based on what we experience in waking. We will try to understand the waking based on what the Shruti says in deep sleep. Yatah Shruti-siddham Nityam Nirvisham Jnanam. Shruti in her own words has said that Jnanam or Drishtihi, Jnatihi is Avinashi and Nirvishaya. Pashyan vetanna pashyati. Natu tad dvidiyam asti anyad yad vibhaktam pashyet. So therefore, what must be the nature of the knowledge in the waking state? Atah karanat jagrajnati avidya. Therefore, the duality that we experience in waking has to be ignorance, not knowledge. Vishaya darshanatmika jnati. In waking state, the awareness is Vishaya darshanatmika. It is objectful awareness, and therefore it must be ignorance. Because ignorance that the same object as awareness is seen as objectful awareness. Avidya means bhranti eva. It must be bhranti. So based on what the Shruti says about deep sleep, we understand the nature of waking and therefore the dream state, that it must be bhranti. Atmana nirvikarataya jnana kartritva yoga. If Atma is avinashi, if avinashi, then nirvikara. Because where vikara is there, there perishability is there. If Atma is nirvikara, then kartrutva, bhoktrutva also are vikaras. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Hanta shed manjite hantum, hatas shed manjite ubhauton vijanita. Nirvikarata. Therefore, in Kathopanishad and Bhagavad Gita also, Atma is proven to be nirvikara. Therefore, kartrutva cannot be, because kartrutva also is a vikara. Jnana kartrutva ayoga. Therefore, Atma cannot be a jnana karta, a jnata, or knower in the primary sense. Alright, then who else has the knowledge? Antah kanasya jarattvadeva jnanasya. Then, if kartrutva is not there in Atma, maybe jnana kartrutva is there in antahkaran, that's other entity. Atma is not the knower, the mind is the knower. Antah jadatvadeva jnanasya anupattehe, but antahkaran itself is jadam, unconscious. Unconscious thing cannot be the ashaya, the locus of consciousness. Unconscious cannot be the locus of knowledge. Adhyastameva savisham jnanam. Therefore, the jnanam, the awareness with object that set up is all adhyastam, is only superimposed. Tad grahyam cha. If the whole thing is jnanam, savisham jnanam, the objectful awareness is superimposed, the objectfulness superimposed, then object also is superimposed. Tad grahyam cha vishaya jatam asat ishyatam. Therefore, the savisham jnanam is mithya, then the vishaya of the jnanam also is mithya. Vishaya jatam asat aparamartham ishyatam. Therefore, the object also is non-existent. If objectless awareness is there, then objectfulness awareness is mithya, then object also must be mithya. Ishyatam svikriyatam, you have to accept it. Now, how do you say that? That all the objects are not there and only jnapti or consciousness is there? Explains. Jagritado vishakara vrittinam surana avagunthitattvad. See, in waking and dream, in any other state, where the different vrittis or the modifications take place in the mind, surana avagunthitattvad, vyaptattvad, achaditatvad, this suranam, the vritti, is always accompanied by the suranam. Vritti or object, the state of mind can be known, provided it is illumined by consciousness. Sfuranam. Therefore, all the vrittis are always accompanied by Sfuranam. In waking in all states. Sarvritti utpati sthiti vinasha sakshitaya. And therefore, the Sfuranam, which is the unchanging, Vyavrittasu anuvartamanam ahamityanta sfurantam sada. The vrittis come and go, constantly change, but sfuranam, the consciousness, the element of vrittis, the light is ever there. So what is element keeps on changing, but the illumination doesn't change. So that light sees the object now coming, then going. So Sfuranam sees the vritti arising, staying, diminishing. One vritti comes, goes, another one comes. Therefore, the Sfuranam is that which illumines both the vinasha of the vritti as well as the utpatti of the vritti. Sadvritti, utpatti, vinasha, sakshi. Otherwise you would not know. You are aware that one thought has gone, the other thought has come. That could not be unless that coming and going, the utpatti, vinasha thought were illumined. So the illuminator of the utpatti, vinasha of the thought, the sakshi. Sarvritti, utpatti, sthiti, vinasha, sakshidaya, sfuranasya ekasya. The one that is sakshi, the witness, the illuminator of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the vritti, has to be there before the creation of vritti, otherwise it cannot witness the creation. Has to be there after the destruction of vritti, otherwise it cannot witness the destruction. And therefore it must be not subject to creation, destruction, it must be always there, nitya. Nityasya, therefore, Sfuranasya ekasya nityasya. The Sfuranam must be one. If Sfuran keeps on changing that, it cannot witness the change. So Sfurana is changeless, one, nityam, anyasya avashyam ashraniya tattvat. So even though you may not note the Sfuranam, in our experience, what we keep on noting are the vrittis. That you realize that the vritti has arisen, the vritti has subsided. At that time, you are not aware of that because of which the utpatti and the nasha of the vritti is noted that we don't note. For example, when we see the flower, it's not there, it has come into being. At that time, we fail to note the light because of it, the flower's existence and non-existence both are illuminated by light, that we don't know, see. So the coming and going vrittis we see. That shows that there must something that illumines that coming and going. You don't see it, you don't see that. The Sfuranam is not the object of seeing, we will accept it. Therefore, Sfuranasya, ekasya, nityasya, anyasya, avashyam ashraniya tattvat. Other than vritti, we subject to utpatti, sthiti, nasha. There must be a Sfuranam other than vritti, because of which we are aware of the utpatti, sthiti, vinasha, the vritti, that Sfuranam has to be accepted. The fact that we are aware of the utpatti, sthiti, vinasha, the vritti, therefore the Sfuranam consciousness illumines that has to be accepted. Not experienced but accepted. Avashyam ashraniyattvatva, therefore we have to accept that Sfuranam other than this. Jagratavi Atma Chaitanya Nityameva. The Sfuranam is Atma Chaitanya. It is the consciousness which is self, has to be accepted. And always there, always illuminating. In light of which we see all the utpatti, sthiti, laya of this vritti. Therefore, we have to accept in waking also Sfuranam, the consciousness, which must be avinashi, nityam, changeless, one. So this is what we, as far as the deep sleep is concerned. Shruti herself described as Sfuranam, the avinashi. The waking state, the very analysis of waking state, of experience, shows that there must be Sfuranam or Atma Chaitanya, which is changing, one, self-effulgent, illuminating all the waking state, the knower, known, knowing everything. And therefore in the waking state also we will accept that the Sfuranam, Atma Chaitanyam, the consciousness itself must be Nityam. So Jagrat Jnati Hitu Avidya Tad Grahyam Cha Sadishyatam. Therefore the Savishayam Jnanam and the Jnayam, both of them are Asat. That's why Savishayatvam is there. Because Vishay is Asat. Vishay is Asat, therefore Savishayatvam is Asat. The Jnapti is not Asat. But Jnapti appears to be Savishaya because of the so-called presence of Vishaya. If Vishaya is not there, the Jnapti is not there, that's not so. Savishayatvam is not there. So Savishayatvam of the Jnapti is Avidya, not Jnapti. Tatha Vishayana Vritti Samkalameva Sfuranat. Now Vritti is Avidya, Mithya. How about the Vishaya? Vishayana Vritti Kalameva Sfuranat. The Vishaya shines only when the Vritti shines. So Vrittis are coming and going, they are Mithya, all right. But then Vritti is always with reference to a Vishaya. Therefore, when is Vishaya there? When Vritti is there. When is Ghata there? Ghatakar Vritti is there. Ghata is not there when Patakar Vritti is there. So Vishayanam Vritti Samkalameva Sfuranat. The Ghata shines in my mind only when the Ghatakar Vritti shines. If Ghatakar Vritti is Mithya, then Ghata also is Mithya. Vishaya Vivicharevi Sfurana Avivicharat. And thus the Vishaya is there, Vishakar Vritti is there. Both of them are subject to coming and going. Ghata is there, Ghatakar Vritti is there, Pata is there, Patakar Vritti is there. The Vritti and Vishayas are subject to coming and going. But what eliminates them, namely Sfuranam, is not subject to coming and going. Therefore, Vishaya Anirupyatva Nirvishayatvam. Therefore, Vishaya Vivicharevi Sfuran Abhyavicharat. Even Vishayas and Vrittis, they keep on changing. The Sfuranam, the consciousness illuminating them, is changeless. And therefore, the consciousness, that even when Vishaya is not there, you understand that. The Vritti is Mithya, which is not really there. So Vishaya also is Mithya, not really there. And consciousness is there. So what should be the nature of that consciousness, which is there? Even if Vritti is not there, Vishaya is not there, then also consciousness is there. Therefore, the conscious is Nirvishaya. Sfuranam is Nirvishayam. Therefore, Vishaya Nirupyatvat. The consciousness is not defined in terms of the Vishaya, because it's not always there. So conscious is defined by itself. So Vishaya Anirupyatvat. Whether Vishaya is there or not, the conscious is what? Nirvishaya Vrittihi, Nirvishaya Jnaptihi. Nirvishayatvam Siddham. Meaning that the Vritti and the Vishaya, the waking, dream, all of these are Mithya. But that eliminates the Mithya, that Sfuranam is Satyam. Mithya requires Satyam or Satyam. Satyam doesn't require Mithya. Mithya requires Satyam. The projection requires the Adhishthanam substratum. The snake requires the rope. And so rope doesn't require snake. Rope is not defined with reference to snake. It's snakeless rope. You can call it if you want. Rope is what? Snakeless rope. Because the snake comes and goes. This Mithya is not really there. Similarly also, Nirvishaya Jnaptihi. So Vishaya Anirupyatvat. The Jnaptihi, the Sfuranam, the consciousness does not require Vishaya to define it. Therefore, Nirvishayatvam Siddham. That the Sfuranam is there, the Jnapti is there, whether Vishaya is there or not. Therefore, Jnapti is Nirvishaya. So Nirvishayatvam Siddham iti bhava. Therefore, the consciousness is Nirvishayam, objectless. Awareness is objectless awareness. So this is how, by analyzing the Shruti Vakya, This is what we understand by the analysis of the Shruti Vakya. Earlier with reasoning also it was arrived at. Here by Shruti Vakya also arrived at. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.